Okay, Narrative Breakers got a very interesting story for us today. Authorities just revealed that they are investigating a possible link between the Cybertruck bomber up in Las Vegas at the Trump Tower and the New Orleans terrorists that both happened on the same day out of nowhere, right? Authorities are looking at how both of these individuals went to Fort Bragg. Both of these individuals were deployed in Afghanistan, and how the Tesla Cybertruck bomber, believe it or not, was active duty, not retired. So they both were stationed same location, both had same deployments, along with other connections. It's very interesting, including the family of the Tesla Cybertruck bomber, exposing him for being a Trump supporter. You can't miss this one. This has to be one of my most important videos today.
Now, I would like to acknowledge a couple of things because I know what's going on in the social media world, and there are a number of things in this case that are similar to the attack in New Orleans. We do know that our subject here served in the military. In fact, he is a current member of the military. Both of the subjects served at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. What we do know about that is it's a very large military base, and we have no record that they served in the same unit or even at the same years at Fort Bragg, something that continues to remain under investigation. I also know that they both served in Afghanistan in 2009. We don't have any evidence that they were in the same province in Afghanistan, the same location, or the same unit. Again, something else that remains under investigation. And we also know, of course, that they both used the rental company Turo to rent their vehicles.
In Vegas, talking now about the Cybertruck attack there at the Trump Hotel. Let's listen in.
As many of you went to sleep last night, and I just want to give you an update on a lot of what it is that we found through the processing of the Cybertruck. This is a joint investigation involving the FBI, the ATF, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, and these folks worked through the night and found a lot of stuff that is very useful for this investigation. As you look at this Cybertruck here, we had to transport this down to our fleet services so that we could really get through this thing. And I remind you that the subject inside wasn't able to be removed for a very long period of time because he was burnt beyond recognition. And so as we continue to move through this, I'm going to talk a little bit about his identity.
Burnt beyond recognition. That type Cybertruck cooked him pretty crazy, right? And what's also interesting, we have to go into this remembering that the authorities said that it was a detonation device that was used. So this is 100% intentional, no longer a firework fanatic, which was initially the reports the media was trying to sell off, that they found some Facebook posts showing that he was enthusiastic about popping fireworks in the past. It's a whole lot deeper than that.
What we believe, but I would like to highlight a couple of things that the teams found inside of the Cybertruck that are useful to the investigation. And that, first and foremost, is a military identification. We also found a passport. We found a Desert Eagle 50 caliber semi-automatic pistol. And if you'll notice on a lot of these guns that we're going to talk about here, they're almost just burnt beyond recognition as well. There's a SLR model B30 semi-automatic firearm, number of fireworks that were still in the vehicle that had to be removed. Notably, we found an iPhone and a smartwatch.
Now, let me go ahead and give us a little bit of a spoiler. The uncle of this individual actually said that his son was so talented. Well, sorry, his nephew was so talented that he could have blown up the entire side of the Trump Tower if he so wanted to. So the uncle pretty much said that it doesn't make sense for him to go with such a small bomb. That in itself is kind of disturbing to me. And it makes me wonder, like everyone else is saying, they're throwing out conspiracies in MK Ultra. It just makes me wonder, what was the purpose of this? Why a Cybertruck? Why the Trump Tower? Regardless, it's a lot more questions than answers, because those are the answers I want to know. But let's dive into it.
Several credit cards were also in the name of our subject. Our subject is 37-year-old Matthew Livelsberger. He's of Colorado Springs, Colorado, born July 22nd of 1987. Now, as you'll see here on a picture of his driver's license, let's see, the question really still remains for me, and I know that there's a lot of you folks in the media that are identifying this person as the person in our vehicle. As I mentioned to you already, His body is burnt beyond recognition, and I do still not have confirmation 100% that that is the individual
Now that is sus itself.
that was inside of our vehicle. And so, as I'm calling it now, the subject or person of interest, I will not come back until I have the confirmation through DNA or medical records that this is indeed, in fact, the subject inside of the vehicle. Now, further complicating this identification of this individual.
So mind you, guys, in case you're missing it, that his body was burnt to recognition, but the identification in his pocket is how they were able to identify. And so what he's saying is there's not no DNA evidence as of right now for them to validate if that person that's burned there is actually him or just someone that was holding the badge.
Also discovered through the coroner's office that the individual had sustained a gunshot wound to the head prior to the detonation of the vehicle. One of the handguns was found at his feet inside of the vehicle. Obviously, in how we're trying to identify him, and I'm feeling comfortable to give you this information, is a tremendous amount of substantial evidence to include he rented the Turo vehicle. There are 2 tattoos, one of which was on the stomach and one of which is on the arm, that we can see bits and pieces of it as in comparison to what it is that we now know he had on his body. That has given us a lot of confidence that this is, in fact, the same person, as well as the clearly obvious, which is the credit cards, the military identification, the passport. And then furthermore, as you'll see here in just a very short period of time, we tracked his movements from Colorado to Las Vegas, and in a number of the photographs that we were able to determine, he was the individual that was driving the vehicle.
But the thing is, for me, and I'm sure my audience wants to know, is how is it that this individual also went to Fort Bragg with the man that plowed through all of those people? In addition to that, he was out trying to recruit people. He says on a Facebook post, "I'm a top 18 Delta ETSD who is looking for just this opportunity, sent him this way." That actually comes from Matt Livenberger, and that's a Facebook post of him responding to a Ukraine recruitment to help and aid the war. So you have someone that also matches the individual that tried to assassinate Donald Trump, who was on video allegedly trying to recruit for Ukraine.
And also, I'd like to iterate this point to you. We still have only ever seen him in this vehicle, and we're not aware of any other subjects involved in this particular case. Now,
in this case specifically, but police confirmed that they're looking at both of those cases with New Orleans and this as a link, and that is because of the rental vehicles on Turo, and both coming out of Fort Bragg. You'll see that post with that after this.
I would like to acknowledge a couple of things because I know what's going on in the social media world, and there are a number of things in this case that are similar to the attack in New Orleans. We do know that our subject here served in the military. In fact, he is a current member of the military.
See,
Both
boom,
of the
that's a link
subjects
right there.
served
So both of the subjects. So now they're talking about with New Orleans. Here's the link.
Fort Bragg, North Carolina. What we do know about that is it's a very large military base, and we have no record that they served in the same unit or even at the same years at Fort Bragg, something that continues to remain under investigation. I also know that they both served in Afghanistan in 2009. We don't have any evidence that they were in the same.
See, now that's, like I said, that's very interesting. Both in Afghanistan as well, same year.
In Afghanistan, the same location, or the same unit. Again, something else that remains under investigation. And we also know, of course, that they both used the rental company Turo to rent their vehicles.
Yep.
As far as his military background, it's been confirmed by DOD that he was indeed in the United States Army. He was also a Green Beret operations sergeant who spent most of his time at Fort Carson, Colorado.
I mean, he's a special force in Fort Carson, if my memory serves me right, is air assault. So he was a high-speed individual.
And in Germany. He was on approved leave from Germany, where he was serving with the 10th Special Forces Group. He was also previously in the National Guard and the Army Reserve.
Him being on leave just means he was on vacation.
I'd like to point out to you that through exceptional joint investigative effort, we've gotten to a place where we believe we can show you his route to Las Vegas from Colorado, and Carlos will put up the map there for you. And we know that he rented the Cybertruck in Denver on December 28th. We tracked his movements through the Tesla charging stations to Monument, Colorado on December 30th. On the 31st of December, the truck was charged in Trinidad, Colorado, Las Vegas, New Mexico, and Albuquerque and Gallup.
Very strange
New
links,
Mexico.
guys. Very strange links. I'm just being honest.
On January 1st, the truck was charged in Holbrook, Flagstaff, and Kingman, Arizona. We last tracked the truck in Kingman at 05:33 yesterday morning. The truck was first spotted in Las Vegas at 7:29 a.m. yesterday. And Carlos will pull up a picture of the truck pulling onto Fashion Show Drive here. And that picture was observed
Coordinated.
at about 7:34.
It's been coordinated. And what is the message that's being sent out to either Trump or Elon?
a.m. We know that he pulled into the Trump valet. I believe we have a video of that. You can see the Cybertruck highlighted there.
This is so crazy to me. I was just there. If you guys actually look at my first video on this topic, it was when it happened about the Trump. My first video. It shows about the, well, not shows about the. It shows my journey at the Trump Hotel up in Las Vegas just 2 weeks ago. This is so surreal. It was my first time at a Trump hotel. My first hotel I stayed at that was Trump. And this is the one where it all went down. Man, it's just so crazy how you can just be so close to history. And anyone that anything like this has happened to, I'm sure you can relate. It's just weird when you see these massive things happen and it's part of history. It's happened to me a few times, including January 6th, among other things. It's just so surreal. Okay. And
Surveillance video, we were able to track him leaving there, and we know that he went to several different places along Las Vegas Boulevard, and he spent some time in a parking lot of a business near Flamingo and Las Vegas Boulevard. We didn't have a video of the truck pulling back onto Las Vegas Boulevard from the sands. See that there? That's north on the boulevard from Sands at 8:39, where he then immediately heads to the Trump Hotel, pulls into the valet area, and as of course you all know, the explosion occurs within 17 seconds of his arrival at the valet. There's some additional investigative updates that are going to be provided to you by a couple of the other speakers here, the first of which...
absolutely insane, man. And like I said, anyone going to the inauguration, make sure you stay safe. Make sure you take care of your people that's out there. And if you know someone going out there, make sure you check up on them. I'm going to be out there. It could get wild.
Will be our special agent in charge of the FBI local office, Spencer Evans. Spencer?
Good morning. My name is Spencer Evans. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI's Las Vegas division. As the sheriff mentioned, we've been working through the night with our partners, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and other agencies, to gather all the facts and determine a motive to what was initially reported to the FBI as a bombing incident, to which our special agent bomb techs and others responded. Obviously, we're always concerned in these sorts of events to ascertain what the motive is. We understand that's everybody's at the forefront of everyone's thoughts. And so looking into exactly what the motivation is remains our #1 priority. This is why the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force has been brought into play. The Joint Terrorism Task Force, most important part of that
Get on
acronym
with
is
it.
joint. It is done in concert with our partners, which are comprised of more than a dozen investigative agencies here throughout the state of Nevada. We've been working hand in glove, side by side, tirelessly to determine, is there any ongoing threat to the public, to identify
Hurry
the
up.
subject, to determine any potential connection to other events going on in the world.
Like the New Orleans, you're talking about the New Orleans. They don't even want to mention it. The Las Vegas police just mentioned the New Orleans terrorists, And now the FBI, man, what's wrong with the FBI? Now the FBI come up here and say possible connection with other events. We know what event you're talking about, the New Orleans terrorists. Why do you guys not want to admit that there is a possible attempt on President Trump's life again? It happened twice. Is it hard to believe that there are terrorists that want to finish the job? Is that just so hard to believe right now?
Notably in New Orleans, and then obviously to determine if there's anything else that we need to be tracking down. At this time, as the sheriff's pointed out, we feel that the
So I paused it right before he said New Orleans, but he did glance over it.
subject has been identified, although not conclusively, waiting for DNA evidence on that front. However, we do feel like we have the subject identified, and at this time there is no information about additional subjects that the FBI is tracking on. Our resources, as I mentioned, that have been deployed in support of this event include Special Agent Bomb Techs, our evidence response team, which is processing crime scenes, side by side with the forensics folks from Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, our investigators, our intelligence analysts, and then outside of the FBI Las Vegas field office, we have investigative leads that are being conducted by FBI field offices, both internationally and domestically as well. As always, when the FBI is involved with any sort of case like this, we ask for help for the public. Anyone with information related to this incident, we encourage you to please call 1-800.
Man, the FBI always asking us for help, man. Like, what do we be getting them paid for? Stop asking us for damn help. I mean, do it yourself. Like, they can't never do nothing no more, bro. Let it be a January 6er. Man, shit, they had all the information before he did anything. Man, it is unreal. Let's be real. Always asking us for help.
FBI, or you can submit a tip online at tips.fbi.gov. We've already received thousands of tips related to this incident. The challenge that we face moving forward is to separate those that are pertinent and relevant and those that can be verified for those from those that have not. For example, one of the tips that we received just today relates to information alluding to this subject's personal experiences related to his time
Look at all the help they
in the
need.
military. Again, that's unverified and uncorroborated, but one of many tips and leads that we will be following up in the days that come.
You can see the Cybertruck highlighted there.
After this little clip that we have right here, we're going to talk about what his uncle said about him, which is very interesting.
So through extensive surveillance video, we were able to track him leaving there, and we know that he went to several different places along Las Vegas Boulevard, and he spent some time in a parking lot of a business near Flamingo and Las Vegas Boulevard. We then have a video of the truck pulling back onto Las Vegas Boulevard from the sands. See that there? That's north on the boulevard from Sands at 8:39, where he then immediately heads to the Trump Hotel, pulls into the valet area, and as of course you all know, the explosion occurs within 17 seconds of his arrival at the valet. There's some additional investigative updates that are going to be provided to you by a couple of the other speakers here.
Okay, and this is a whole lot smaller than I wanted it to be. Let's see if I can make it a little bit larger for you guys right here. We'll read it like this. So let me go ahead and pull it out. Here we go. This is the uncle of the alleged bomber. He says he used to live all patriotic, have all kind of patriotic stuff on his Facebook. He was 100% loving of the country. He loved Trump, and he was always a very, very patriotic soldier, a patriotic American. It's one of those reasons he was in Special Forces for so many years. It wasn't just one tour duty. Matt was very skilled warrior, and he would be able to make if it was him. And if he did this, he would have been able to make a more sophisticated explosive than using propane tanks and camping fuel. Some of it doesn't make sense. When he had the skills and ability to make something more, let's say, efficient, his skills were enormous from what he had been taught in the military. He could have fashioned a bomb that would have obliterated half of that hotel if he seriously wanted to hurt others. So it also shows his mission wasn't hurt others, but to me, it's just to send a message. Now, this comes directly from his uncle, which gave this exclusive to Independent. You can go check that out on Independent via Google. But it's very interesting because the uncle exposes that he could have blew up half of that damn hotel. It's just so intimidating to know that we have individuals like this walking around, looking like regular people. Never underestimate anyone, seriously. But it does show that this intelligent individual who's on leave, actively in the military, Trump lover, it doesn't really add up. It doesn't add up. People throwing out MK Ultra like, come on, we have no, But it doesn't add up at all. Because the simple thing is, he could have actually hurt someone. And then it happened on the same day. Can you blame Americans for having their hands up and saying, what the hell is going on? Let's find out more.
So as I'm calling it now, the subject or person of interest, I will not come back until I have the confirmation through DNA or medical records that this is indeed, in fact, the subject inside of the vehicle. Now, further complicating this identification of this individual, we also discovered through the coroner's office.
Fox News is just giving their
that the individual had sustained a gunshot wound to the head.
Yes. And I don't know if people missed that part. That is very, very important. This dude, before the explosion, sustained a gunshot wound. I'm trying to figure out how the hell this works. So he busts himself in the head and still has the strength to detonate the device. What people are saying, that it was detonated, that means someone else detonated the device, possibly remotely, and he shot himself. But why did he have to sit in the car? He didn't have to be there. So it makes me to believe he did detonate the device. But damn, this dude was a beast. To be able to shoot himself and blow the damn car up after he done, it doesn't make sense. He didn't even have to die. It is crazy when you think about it. And it is crazy. He sustained a gunshot wound. I'm even speechless. He sustained a gunshot wound before the explosion. Like, that's crazy.
Prior to the detonation of the vehicle, one of the handguns was found at his feet inside of the vehicle. Obviously, in how we're trying to identify him, and I'm feeling comfortable to give you this information, is a tremendous amount of substantial evidence to include he rented the Turo vehicle. There are 2 tattoos, one of which was on the stomach and one of which is on the arm, that we can see bits and pieces of it as in comparison to what it is that we now know he had on his body. That has given us a lot of confidence that this is, in fact.
It just makes people wonder and hope, and I hope to God it be him, but ain't it just so bad that we live in a country where when we have these things happen, everyone thinks like, oh my God, how is the government involved? I just want to know, as an American, do you think we'll ever get to the point where we can actually trust our government in times of crisis and actually believe it could be a third party, someone that has nothing to do with the government? Because they've done so much to the American people that instead of actually thinking like the first thought is our enemies, we always thinking it's our allies that have hurt us. And that just shows the trust in the American people has been completely taken advantage of and lost. And I just hope that at least with this upcoming administration, that the trust in the government can be obtained. Because I tell you, the country is straight Mad Max if we can't have trust in our own systems.
The same person, as well as the clearly obvious, which is the credit cards, the military identification, the passport. And then furthermore, as you'll see here in just a very short period of time, we tracked his movements from Colorado to Las Vegas. And in a number of the photographs that we were able to determine, he was the individual that was driving the vehicle. And also, I'd like to iterate this point to you. We still have only ever seen him in this vehicle, and we're not aware of any other subjects involved in this particular case. Now, I would like to acknowledge a couple of things because I know what's going on in the social media world, and there are a number of things in this case that are similar to the attack in New Orleans. We do know that...
Okay, and of course we heard that part, so I'm not going to have to force y'all through that. I just wanted to reemphasize on the simple fact that this individual sustained a gunshot wound. I'll tell you, we are in some strange times. In 2025, it's starting off absolutely insane. It's starting off so crazy. And I'm going to beat a dead horse again with this. And it's like, I'm worried about the inauguration. I'm worried about something bad could actually happen because, man, to see so much terrorist activity, it is right now, January the 2nd. And we're talking about a possible bomb threat in Greenville, South Carolina. My family, my pops, them live in Greenville, South Carolina. A possible bomb threat that shut down the entire I-85, the entire interstate. You got the mass shooting in New York, which is really just niggas acting up in the club, but they reported it as mass shooting. You have the New Orleans terrorists and the Trump Tower bomber. This is January the 2nd. I'm sorry, I'm low-key worried about the inauguration. These fools is crazy right now. So let me say it again. Make sure you protect your left. Make sure you protect your right. We're going to have to make sure all of us leave that place the way we entered, in one piece. Because they seem like they like to blow shit up right now. Really nothing else for this. If you guys could, please like the video because it does help me out. If I can get to 500 on this one. My last one today is doing really good because you guys boosting that one up. We can do it again. I believe we can. I know we can. I think we can. We can do it. And if you're not a subscriber, click the subscription button before we jump up and hit to 100K one day. And you don't have to miss out, man. You get to say you was one of the day ones because I tell you, what we building, it's going to be monumental. And for those that are subscribed, please click the notification bell so you can stay updated. I just reached a new record with subscriber notifications on my last video. So we getting somewhere, man. The army, we getting bigger. We're getting bigger. And when our voice is bigger, we can speak more. If you've been following me on X, I evolved the larger I got. That's what you're supposed to do. But it gets better the larger the brand gets. And that's one thing I can promise for everyone. The entertainment is going to get better. We're going to do better. And we're going to step on next. 2025. This is the year. I'm sorry, I got to call it. Last year was a year of exposing, the year of truth. This is the year. I don't want to say that term because I don't want to get in trouble on YouTube. I'm sorry about that. It's the year of a renaissance. The truth was exposed. And what's crazy, even with the stuff you could say that's going on with the H-1Bs, the truth was exposed at the end of 2024. Now we got to deal with the truth in 2025. That comes with the Diddy, the Epstein things. You got to think about it. All this stuff is going to come up and we got to deal with it. This is the year dealing with the truth, and that's going to lead to a renaissance or revolution, however you want to put it. This is the year of revolution. This is the year of renaissance, and we're coming up on America's birthday. So it makes sense. The energies and everything, it makes sense. And remember, President Trump said he's bringing back the world fairs in America's birthday. So we're almost there. It'll be here next year. It makes sense. We'll have already gone through the Renaissance this year, our revolution, whatever, within our parties. I feel like a new political norm is going to be obtained after this year. Mark my words. And we're going to fight for a good one. Let's do it.